Okay. Thank you very much, Raluca. It looked really nice. I mean, it was very nice watching you unfold the map. This is the second event of Sinopale'nin Relational Atlas that we are organizing as part of Sinopale 8. And Raluca Popa is here with us with her new work, this untitled map, as she called it, that she produced in response to her earlier work she made in 2017 for Sinopale 8, and that was called Synopia rhymes with Diplopia, rhymes with Myopia. Yeah, and Sinopale's Relational Atlas is based on the idea of looking at Sinopale as some form of a context that actually puts Sinop into a larger geographical framework. So I was interested in looking at how the artists' work that were presented in Sinop and also very often made in Sinop created some new links between Sinop and other places, and put Sinop into a larger global context, as very often what biennials do, actually. So I also invited Raluca as part of this program, and she kindly accepted, and I'm very glad, and I thank her here for accepting that. And I was interested in her work because of her reference to Synopia. She uses that in the title, and it is about a pigment that was used in Anatolia and maybe around Cappadocia region, and it was traveling. It was transported to Europe by some ships, I think, taking over from Sinop. So through Sinop, it was taken to Europe, and it became one of the key red colors, I think, that artists used for their drawings. And through a really long period of time, from medieval era to Renaissance, as far as I know. So it's really a big part of history of painting in Europe. So that was the idea of, I was wondering how she used that idea of some artistic material traveling from Sinop to elsewhere. But also she was using other ideas when she was working in Sinop. So our conversations were also about, maybe not specifically about Synopia only, but also being in Sinop. What does it mean to be there? How can one relate to Sinop and her experience of displacement when she was there, and experience of making some artwork there. So that is the general context of how we started, and eventually she also made some drawing during that Sinopale. As far as I never saw that, and maybe many people didn't see it because it was covered, but that was called Synopia. And she also decided to do these drawings for this Sinopale, but decided to transform them into this kind of a map, or present them within this map format. So maybe I should just leave it to Raluca to explain maybe how or why did she decide to choose the format of the map specifically for this project.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for inviting me in Sinopale 8. I was very pleased that you were interested in my work, and I was also a bit surprised. I thought I didn't do that my work was not so visible then when I went in Sinop first time, and I was surprised that you discovered the work and that you subsequently you were interested in collaborating with me. So actually, after I finished this map, I looked again through some old documents from the time in 2017 when I came first to Sinop, and I found 3 lines of text. It was the swimming lessons, the eye test, and the map. And I didn't remember to have wanted to make a map, but in the end I made a map. But I was somehow not aware that I already had this in mind at that time. So at the end I checked all these 3 lines: the swimming lessons, the eye test, and the map. When we first talked, I told you that I would like to make a little book for the library, and then somehow I switched to a map because I found it more relevant for the context, and I thought there are better connections that I can make through this object, because I'm not traveling to Sinop, and because of the theme you chose. And also then of course I researched a lot of maps and how they are made, because I wanted to make it myself. And I discovered this map that has these special folds. It's called Falk folds, and they open like a book, as you saw it before if you watched the video. So it opens like a book already, and it allows for very little information to see it at one moment in time. So it's not all everything seen in one view. So this was interesting for me, that you can focus on some details, and you fold independently only some parts. You don't see the neighboring parts. And this was interesting because I also thought, thinking in retrospect at Sinop, that I don't remember everything, and that it is as part of this unfolding that I can't unfold everything in one go. So I only have access to limited information. And it's also because after having this event in Sinop, I moved to Berlin, and I used to orient myself in the city with such a map. Maybe I just, I wanted to, maybe to work with something that I'm familiar with. Yeah.
I think it fits really all the discussion that we made about how you were really trying to engage with Sinop. And one of your first strategies was to really swim in the sea by Sinop, Karadeniz, Black Sea. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it's quite symbolic act of just jumping somewhere and trying to learn how to survive. You were learning how to swim.
Yeah.
The way of engaging with the real actual site of Sinop, really physical in a way. Mm-hmm. The map is maybe a tool for us to engage with the place. You learn it through the map. And of course, you are not in Sinop, but you are still, the idea of map might help you understand Sinop maybe, or another place. So I thought actually it suits all these ideas about and being somewhere, or maybe being displaced and trying to be part of a new place in a way. And the fact that you're in Berlin, and it looks like you are also doing the same, and you were mentioning that to me earlier too. I was also going to say, I mean, of course, this is a personal experience, but also in the context of the biennial, and Sinopale is a little bit experimental in that sense. I mean, many artists just go over there, and some of them are not familiar with place as well. So they have to be just immediately be part of it and respond to it. And generally it really works well because of the atmosphere in Sinop, actually maybe all this engagement with local people. So it's different maybe than other biennials, but it's still a process, I mean, of being, for an artist to go somewhere and to do something. So this is always something artists need to consider. How do you really relate and respond to it?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, in general, it's very demanding when you have to go, it's a place where maybe you've never been before, and you have to engage with the community, and it's a very short period of time when you do this, and you want to do something good, but on the other hand, you have to, I mean, you have to be very fast and merge with the community and have like almost like to have an immediate dialogue, and this is not always easy. That's why also I thought I thought about what I can do and the type of works that I usually do, and the decision to work with few people, that was very, I mean, it was my way of working with the community. So working only with few specific peoples because it, for me, was not, well, I found it difficult to engage many people in the same time. And I also didn't want to have this feeling that I'm using the community, that I arrive there and then I ask people to help me with things. Like it is very tricky that where do you, I mean, you work with somebody, and when do you actually start using that person and then to make your own work? So then these were some questions I had. And you were talking before about this pigment. This pigment, I don't know if people are interested to hear this, but this was the starting point for my project. It was this pigment, as you said, it was transported through the port of Sinop. and it was used for frescoes. So they use it to draw the sketches, the composition of some fresco, and then on top of this they would do the real thing, the painting, the fresco. So this Synopia, this sketch would be behind the real painting, would be just a sketch.
Never directly visible.
Sorry?
It's never directly visible. The Synopia, it's only creating the background.
Yeah, yes, yeah, it's a sketch, the drawing of a painting that is going to be a fresco. So Synopia actually is the name of the pigment, and but also the name I read of the image itself, of the sketch. So the sketch is Synopia, means also pigment and the medium and the result, the product, the image. Yeah, and this was interesting for me, that it was a hidden layer, right? This sketch is a hidden layer, and that's why, I mean, it's not very visible, but it worked well in my mind, that I have thought of Synopia as this invisible drawing, and on the map I draw these drawings that are done on the map are done with use of some binoculars. So I realized this map was to look through some binoculars and to discover things that I can't see with the naked eye. So then I would draw what I see through the binoculars, and it's really the things that exist, but you don't have access to them. So they are there. It's like this sketch, like this Synopia that you don't see, but it's there. It's the base for actually what you are able to see. So there are these hidden layers that interest me, and they are, of course, it's not so visible. It's not so shiny. It's not so. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find now words. But yeah, these are things that interest me, and then maybe it's not so visible. Why I have this title, Synopia rhymes with Myopia, rhymes with Diplopia, rhymes with Myopia. Myopia, it's I'm not going to explain now all this, but it's about what we see, the visible things. Myopia means that is an affection of the eye, you can see far. Diplopia is an affection of the eye where you see two images instead of one in different configurations. So it's
yeah. So you actually used the idea of, I mean, the term Synopia in its relationship to these other two terms, which is also a reflection of your interest in vision and issues about vision. So that was also some part of your earlier Synop work, but especially in this work, you also still continue to play with it in a way, or maybe not play with it, but genuinely maybe try to see something around you, because maybe we could explain more about these drawings a bit more. Like you are actually doing them at your studio, and you are new to Berlin, relatively new, and maybe you are getting to know the city, its past, and maybe the area that you are living in, and that's what I guess. But in the end, you are drawing what you are seeing from your window. So that drawing is an act of trying to get to know, maybe, or get closer.
Yeah, I'm drawing what I don't see from the window, because as I said, without these binoculars I would not see what I drew. But this I had this interest. I mean, probably it started with Sinopale, that I became interested in exploring vision and how we look at things, or what these things make to us, or what do they provoke in us. And yeah, what did I want to say? So yeah, as I said, I started in in Sinop to think about these things, and I carry them along. So this map is on the same path. So there are things that interest me, and I want to explore them. I'm midway through things. The map is another outcome of my interest at the moment. So,
and you see those drawings as also sketches. So I think, right?
Yeah, they are actually, they are done. They look like sketches, but they are a bit more advanced because I was also interested in preserving these architectural details and the perspective to make some correct drawings. But what is also interesting is that I did one drawing and the next day I wanted to continue that drawing, and some things that I drew one day before they moved or they were moved by somebody. So then I didn't remake the drawing, but I drew on top of it. So it also preserved that movement of things. I mean, they don't stay. And
duration is like for time captures a longer duration.
Yes, yeah. And I could show some drawings, but
yeah, that would be good. Because also you were talking about how some of the things you see are kind of reminding you of Sinop, like in terms of construction, because you thought Sinop was a construction site.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember telling you, indeed, this I also have a lot of that I made in Sinop at that time, and hundreds of photos. And indeed, I left with this impression that a lot is built or rebuilt there, that there are some new developments. Many areas felt like they were in the middle of something, would be in either destruction or on the opposite side, in the opposite direction. And my studio is in an industrial area, so I would, in my neighborhood, I see these these various materials, and I could, doing this map, I also I thought about this landscape in Sinop, of course. And I made a list of things that I see through the windows, and I see wooden pallets. Now I'm just reading this. Large unopened crates, walls, against the walls, crates, wrapping material, everywhere, waiting, cables, brushes, corrugated cardboard, iron, color pigment, glass, a thin layer of plaster, chopped tree trunks, a standing tree, windows, roofs, a fire escape, pictorial representation. So that would be the elements that would find their place in the map or not. And pictorial representation would be this map, but pictorial representation could be, it could be a Synopia drawing, but I was saying that I would show some drawings. I don't know if this is visible.
Yeah, now we can see.
So what I was doing was I would decide on a area which I draw, and I would start drawing, and then I would use this tape to circle the area which interests me more. So while looking at something, of course, you focus in the end on something that it's most interesting for you, and this is exactly what I did. So I start with something general, and then I would go into more specific things. Is this visible?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just, I just show a couple of them.
Okay.
This is my preferred one.
Is it like a construction?
It is, I think it is a metal construction. I think they used it to carry loads, wagon with loads. So to transport them through the air. It's a very high construction, and I think it's also protected, and yeah, they are not allowed to remove it. So it's like a monument from other times. Yeah, this is a roof. I mean, construction materials. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. It was good to see them closer, actually. And when you were putting them onto the map, or maybe bringing them all together in that surface of the map, did you have any concern? I mean, because in the end, a map is usually something trying to organize a space or an area. So I mean, I was wondering what you were thinking when you laid them on that.
Yeah, many things, because I have a strange relation with the digital medium, and I worked quite a lot in this area, but still I somehow feel some detachment from the digital. So I was thinking, if I really want to bring this into the digital realm and do a print, and in this situation I thought it was a good thing, because I like the object in itself. I had to fold this huge piece of paper, and it was such a burden. I didn't imagine it will be so difficult, and there was a lot of measurements and cuts. It also, there are parts that has to be cut so that it folds like you saw, and yeah, I mean it's yeah, you can see there are all these cuts, and so I liked. I mean, it was difficult, but apart from being a digital print, I just like this manual work. And actually, it was interesting to read that this map, I think it was invented in around after the Second World War, but by a German cartographer, and his name is Falk, yeah, Gerhard Falk. And it was then produced manually. So until I think 1990, they were home workers doing these maps. And I can't, I mean, with such a huge amount of work, I mean, it was just fascinating as well to think about these people doing, producing these maps at home. And it's there is also something funny about the location where my studio is on Teilestrasse, which Teile means parts or sections, and I couldn't escape thinking about this, that I'm doing this map and this with this composed of these fragmented drawings that yeah, they are fragments of this landscape I see, but it's not very coherent. So, and these parts are, I bring together in this, inside this object, and they come, yeah, they are part of this street of parts, or I don't know how, what would be the best translation, but it's, I mean, it's quite, it's a weird name for a street as well. And I don't know how, I find it quite strange. And I like this, I don't know, this complication, this that it complicated my work in a nice way somehow. And yeah, of course, it's also about when thinking of the, as I wrote as well, that I was drawing in the, looking toward, in the direction of Sinop, and it's, of course, it's also about this fragmented memory, and you can't escape this, and of course, it's part of the work somehow.
Yeah, and also, how can you be closer to a place to be really able to do something about it or represent it? I mean, you had this struggle in Sinop, but now in Berlin, you have a similar type of thing. So, I mean, the kind of distance we have to places, or maybe the necessity to get closer and closer, but how can you just really reach? Or those are the questions that seem interesting to me as well. And I think it's a good match that the name of the street is matching the format of the map. I also like to hear that. And another thing I want to add, and maybe other listeners, audience can also ask questions, that you are also thinking of giving this map to the library in Sinop, the public library. So your initial intention from the beginning was to do something for the public of Sinop. So not only for this online platform, which most of the events are taking place, but you really wanted to do something tangible to give back to Sinop. And this map is that, actually, which is really nice. And actually, I really liked seeing your hands and folding or unfolding the map. So the tangibility of the work, even though we are now in this virtual world, like we are now only connected by the internet, we are not even in the same space. But even last week, Julie was playing with this idea of being online, but also playing with more actual materiality of her surroundings. So I think artists are continuously maybe going over the barriers of the online world in some way. So yours is another example.
Yeah, I think it was, I mean, after 2 years of online, I don't know if we are going back to what we are doing before, but probably not. So something changed. I also feel it with my work, and that some things inevitably changed. And yeah, this, I wanted to Well, I wanted to visit the library when I was there, and I missed this. I mean, I missed so many things when I was there. I think I was there like 6 days or something like this. And then I looked through the archives of Sinopale, and I found some work by some other artists. There's something in the library, and it was an image of the shelves with books, and they were next to a window, and through the window you could see the sea. And I thought about these swimming lessons that I took there with Kansu Chirkan. Do I pronounce well?
Cansu.
Cansu. Okay.
Cansu Kırcan. Kırcan değil mi?
And
Cansu.
Cansu.
Yes.
Cansu. And yeah, it was, I mean, the library is next to the sea, I think. So I did this before in Switzerland. I left a book of drawings in the library. I donated the book to the library there, and I always wanted, I wanted to repeat this, to leave some other work, in another library. And in my old notes from 2017, from when I came to Sinop, I also had, I mean, I had a lot of ideas I put on paper, what I would like to do, and it was something related to the library, but I didn't manage to do anything. So yeah, this idea stayed with me, and yeah, I would like that somebody takes this map and unfold it, and have his or her own experience. It's not much to say about this. I this way I think it connects. If I leave this in the library, it somehow connects to the other book I left in winter tour, so in Switzerland, and somehow there are two works connected that will not be next to one to the other ever, but somehow I like this, somehow this connection that I could make, and it's not visible, it's not, and
there is this connection of two places, like between Berlin and Sinop, through this work in a way also occurs. So I'm guessing Sinopale team will help you with this, taking the map and bringing to Sinopale, Sinop Public Library. I'm sure they'll be happy to help with that. And I don't know, maybe they also have some questions or comments. So we can also ask other. Melih wants to say something. Yes.
Merhaba, Raluca ve Rana'ya bu güzel söyleşi ve tabii ki performans için çok teşekkür ediyorum. İlişkiler Atlası aslında çok da iyi oldu. Hakikaten ilişkiler kuruyor. Raluca aynı zamanda bir parça oldu. Çünkü oturduğu sokak ile aynı zamanda parça, kısım ya da bölmek anlamına da gelir Berlin'deki kısım. Bu sayede bir şeyin parçası olduğunu da bizzatihi ispat etmiş oldu. Ve Sinop'taki aslında bizim görmediğimiz, daha unuttuğumuz bir şey hatırlatmak açısından da bir şeyin altını çizmesi, ki o pigment meselesi, Synopia pigmenti ve bunun bizim hayatımızda, bizim hikayemizde önemli bir yer olduğunu izah etmesi. Sonra bunun su, yüzme, taşıma meselesiyle bir bağlantılandırması, ilişkilendirmesi ve sonuçta da oluşturmuş olduğu gibiyle ilişkili bir harita ya da kartografi nesnesi diyebiliriz. Bugün sonuçlandırması aslında çok da güzel bir ilişki oluşturdu. Yani aslında Sinopale'nin belki de ilişkisel bağlamdaki en önemli sonuçlarından bir tanesi. Elbette ki bu işin kütüphane ya da bir arşive, Sinop'taki bir arşive götürülmesi ve orada kalıcı hale getirilmesi çok önemli olacaktır. Umuyoruz ki biz bunu başarabiliriz. Ne yazık ki kütüphanemiz çok sevdiğim bir kütüphane. Orada yine aynı şekilde bir fikir üzerinden, yine bir sivil bir girişim üzerinden kurulmuş olan bir yapıdır tarih içerisinde ve bugün yine işte genç ve çocuklara, bütün insanlara ya da bütün farklı gruplardan insanlara, yaş gruplarına hitap etmektedir. Biz de zaman zaman kütüphanenin içerisinde sergileme amacıyla çok güzel etkinlikler yapıyoruz. Rana Öztürk bunlardan bir tanesini gerçekleştirmişti Sinopia 3 kapsamında ve daha sonrasında da yine başka kuratör arkadaşlarımız kütüphaneyi değerlendirdiler ama sanıyorum orada henüz bir çağdaş sanatla ilgili bir bölüm ya da oradan kırıntılarla, parçalarla, izlerle ilgili bir şey henüz oluşturulamadı. Zannediyorum bu vesileyle Raluca'nın bu kartografisi vesilesiyle de böyle bir şeyin altını çizecek olabiliriz diye düşünüyorum. Ve bunun da bir parçası olduğu için aynen oturduğu sokağın adında olduğu gibi kendisine teşekkür ediyorum. Ve ben sözlerimi burada tamamlıyorum. Sadece bir yorumda bulunmak istemiştim. Herhangi bir sorun yok. Teşekkür ediyorum her ikinize de.
Biz de teşekkür ederiz. I don't know if Raluca could understand.
Yeah, thank you. I use this interpretation.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it worked very well. I never used this before, and I was very impressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teşekkür ediyoruz.
Is there any other comment?
Olan var?
Neil has written
Bir
something.
soru var. Rana sende.
Raluca has mentioned some characteristics of the fold already. Can she tell us more about why she chose this fold to present and also to preserve her map?
Yeah, when I decided to do the map, I researched. I wanted to fold it in a special way because they're simple maps, and I wanted, because initially I wanted to make a sort of book, and I arrived to the map. I still had this idea of making have a map like a book, so it that reads like a book, can read like a book. And I read about different folds that I can make. How can you fold a map? And I chose this one because it was fitting for my for my idea, for what I wanted to do. And I also discovered I read about a fold called the Turkish fold, which is like a pop-up fold. It opens all in the same time, like a flower. And but that didn't fit with what I wanted to achieve. So and I said at the beginning, I think I said that I also used the Falk fold for Berlin at the beginning when I moved here, and I had this familiar feeling, and I wanted to make a similar object and to do it myself. As I said, I was very impressed that as I said, that these were done by workers at home, and I also wanted to do something like this and to test some limitations that I might have doing this object. And I was interested to do it. And nowadays you have these machines that hold automatically maps, and you don't need the people to do this anymore. And I don't know, in a way I find it quite sad. So yeah, I like this manuality. Yeah, that you in the end you have such a huge satisfaction when you finish the object. So I don't know if I answered the question. I think shortly I wanted what I wanted was a complicated fold also to test my abilities. And yeah, I also like how it opened. It's also like the waves of the sea, and yeah, it's just a yeah. Yeah,
Really nice watching.
that is, sorry?
It was really nice to watch it because
Yeah.
there are folds that you don't expect. I mean, I wasn't expecting so many different types of folds.
Yeah, there are many combinations that you can make. Yeah, so then it's always it's a bit like a movie. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and you did it quite well. I mean, even learning to fold it might be difficult to learn to do. I mean,
I also work. I have other works in where in which I cut and fold things, and I weave things together, and maybe it's in the same area of maybe I just go there more often than in other parts. So yeah.
Yeah, Neil also says, I also see a city in your map arising from the sea and also disappears into the sea. That's a nice comment. A poetic ending, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else to add? I mean, I think I asked as much as I wanted so far, or I think we discussed the things that were quite relevant for the work, but maybe if there is nothing to add by other people or you, Raluca, of course.
Yeah, I think I said many different things, and I don't want to confuse people more. I always strive. How is that? I always want to be very precise, but sometimes you just end up, especially when you are in such a context, that you end up always a bit in like a mist, so I hope it was clear enough. And
no, I think it was good. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, we really liked, I mean, I personally liked the map quite a lot, and I'm sure other people also.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And I was really happy to, as I said, to get these emails, and I'm very happy that this archive is actually made available. I think it's a very good thing for the people that were involved, and there were so many people involved in.
Yeah, and also as Mary says, I hope really something starts in the library, because I'm sure there are lots of material that the library can also hold and maybe sometimes show. So, I mean, as he says, it can be a start maybe with your work.
Well, I hope if the map arrives there, I just hope that it will be treated like a map and not like a necessary
artwork,
like an art object. That it is a map in the end. Yeah. A map of a city at the sea. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I also thank you again for participating, and hopefully there will be other occasions for this kind of events. And for our next event, I'm also expecting you and everyone who is watching this. It will be on the 27th of April.
Mhm.
The participation of Ronan McRae and Johannes Vogel. Yeah, we have two artists on that day, and yeah, so this will be followed by them on the 27th.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Neil, and thank you everybody for the entire work. Yeah.